over to Matt Butler, and we're going to review our tool that links payments to settlements. We have a screen here with a website, and in the website we take the order which is sold by a credit card. That order flows through Acumatica and goes through the book, ship, invoice, and bank reconciliation process. Simultaneously, the credit card goes through the credit card processor and gets a deposit into a bank. So far, so good. Well, what about what happens when you've got multiple payment sources like PayPal and Amazon and eBay, let alone the credit card? So now I've got multiple deposits in the bank, and I've got to correlate those deposits to the invoice in Acumatica. And let's say I do 1,000 orders a day or 3,000 orders a day from multiple sources. So now I've got a deposit of $17,225, a deposit of $30,312, and a deposit of, pick a number, $7,415.25. And I've got to link those deposits to thousands of open invoices in Acumatica. Matt's developed a tool that does that automatically. And we'll kick off with that tool because literally it can save upwards to a quarter of a full-time equivalent, a half of a full-time equivalent, one person a year. And we have customers that do this today where they are literally saving $20,000, $30,000 a year in costs utilizing this tool. So Matt, let me turn it over to you right now. And as I do that, any questions on your end, Nancy, with your team?
I don't believe there are any questions at this time.
All right. So can you see Matt's screen?
Yes.
All right. Perfect.
Fantastic. Okay. So one of the, a customer a few years ago had issues because they had so many different payment methods and sales channels, an e-commerce website, Amazon, eBay, and of course, all of the differing payment methods that that go along with that. And so we started down the path of creating a flexible tool that would take pretty much any payment method settlement file and disseminate it, look up based on the payment type, look up the actual payments in the system and create a deposit. So what you're looking at is these are actual authorized automated payments, Amazon payments. These files in some cases are very complicated. In the case of Amazon, you can pull up an Amazon because I'm not going to run one. It's a rather large file. The bank deposit that comes in came from a settlement file that had probably, I'm guessing this is $55,000. This was probably a 6,000 line file. And that file had payments, refunds. It also had varying charges and then realignments. So not only does it have the ability to associate a payment with its settlements, but it also has the ability to net out. So in other words, in this case, these are the Amazon fees being charged. These are adjustments. This is sales tax that was taken but not booked on the Amazon order in Acumatica. So this is what the bank said, this exact number. And I'm going to show you an easier one that's going to run a little faster for us, just for the sake of time. I'm going to do an authorized.net file that is fairly simple. We're going to do, I don't know, I think it's like a 400 payment file. So all I'm going to do is grab the file and give it to the program. Now the programs are external. They use web service contracts. The same file the same program has not incurred a code change since 5.3. It works in every version without a code change, so you're not calling your ISV every time you have to upgrade. So what the system is doing right now is pulling my authorized.net undeposited payments, and it's going to do a match and kill. You guys can see a window right now, is that correct? Telling us what it's doing?
I see a DOS window. I see the DOS window.
Yep. So it's processing instructions. Now the cool thing about this program is it's metadata driven. What that means is the same program can be instructed to process a set of instructions against the settlement file. It's done processing instructions, and as you can see it's processing 100 of 374, I think we had 376, 374 payments. So if I go back to Acumatica right now, let's see what we got. Cool. So it's processing right now. You can see the amount has changed. Oh, it's 200 of 374. So in the time that we're having this conversation, I have been able to take 400 payments here and already disseminate them. It's already creating the deposit. And this can be mapped to any file. We haven't encountered any settlement file formats that we haven't been able to handle. Go ahead, you were going to ask?
No, I was just going to point out from a business perspective, it's not unusual for high volume e-tailers and distributors to literally have someone in their accounting department spend anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 hours per day doing credit card settlement. And we take
Depends
those
on the number
hours
of payments
and turn them into literally 15 minutes. So that's when we say that we can provide the customer, if you've got a full-time equivalent of say $40,000 to $50,000 a year, and you can cut out 1/4 of their time, that's a savings of 10 grand a year. If it's obviously 50% of their time, it's a saving of $20,000 to $25,000 per year. And we've gotten that feedback from customers.
So now the cool thing about this is we have all these various payments that have come through. Some of them came from external transactions that were charged on a Magento website. Some of them are internal to Acumatica. Either way, it didn't care because, again, it's mappable. It's mappable on the Acumatica side as well as the metadata that drives the instructions to figure out what to do with it. So we without any code changes, we can drag an Amazon file on top of this and do the same thing. Now I'm going to show you also here, I'm going to refresh this. Now, part of the match and kill is exceptions. So what I'm going to show you now is at the end of that process, anything it could not find and associate in your deposit is now here. And I have 2 items, so we were 2 short, and they are basically imported into the native Acumatica capability to do a match and kill on things you couldn't find. I don't think I need to go over that. I think everyone's pretty used to these sets of screens, the bank transaction screens. But in a minute and a half, we took 400 payments and figured out only the ones that did not match something. And typically this means that someone did something in the credit card portal. If we were to go and look, let's see.
So when we mention that a person goes from 2 hours a day to 15 minutes, the 15 minutes is matching these ones that were not programmatically and automatically matched by our tool. And for those, we literally list them within Acumatica for the accounting person to be able to do those matching.
Yeah.
So
here's an interesting one.
So Matt, we got 1 more minute on this because we got to keep moving.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one. Yeah, we're done. Here's an interesting one. We have a refund that was processed for an order where the payment hadn't even made it through. So what we have here is investigation. But what that means is accountants are not spending any time on the other 376 that it put through to the deposit. So they're only managing the exceptions, and that speeds everything up. Okay.
Can I ask? So who's our target prospect for that application? How do I qualify?
Typically e-tailers that have hundreds to thousands of transactions a day.